is dedicated to the culture and the center. So they like to have good artists there in a way.
Today, I want to talk about something that has made a huge impact on my art journey: artist friends. If you're creating alone and feeling a little stuck or even questioning, am I good enough? This video is for you. Because honestly, having artist friends changed everything for me. I met my art friends through Agnes Cecil's workshop. We were all there, learning, experiencing the process together. Some of us work in different mediums, but watercolor was our common ground. And I think that's what made us click. Our passion for art and the fact that we could share what was hard, what was amazing, and we were all inspired by the same artist, Agnes Cecil. At first, we just connected naturally. I can't even explain how, it just happened. But after the workshop, I decided to keep us connected. I made a group chat on Instagram and started a routine of hosting meetups at my place. That was the start of something really important. One of the biggest lessons I learned from my artist friends, especially, was from Ellie's exhibition, which came pretty much a week or two after when we met at Agnes Cecil's workshop. It was about showing up as an artist. I saw everything she had to do, presenting herself professionally, making sure her pieces displayed well, having a photographer, talking with everyone that showed up at the exhibition. She sold a lot of work and it looked like a huge success. But later she told me how much she regretted not keeping the momentum going. That kind of hit me because it's not just about one good show. It's about building something that can last, that keeps on going. That was a real lesson in what it takes to sustain not just an art career, but a career, not just have one exciting moment. We also talk a lot about social media struggles, how it sometimes feels like no matter what you do, how much consistent you are, your work doesn't quite reach out to the people you want it to reach out, or you don't get the reactions that you want. And talking about commissions, how do we reach the right audience without constantly trying to chase the algorithm or whatnot? So honestly, a lot of these conversations are just us venting, but knowing you're not alone in these struggles, I feel like that really helps. Ellie also pushed me to paint large, and not in some motivational, you should go big kind of way. She just had this big Fabriano hot press paper that she didn't want anymore, so I bought it for half the price, and of course, I had to use it. We've also had so many conversations about finding your style. Like when you're not sure what your style is. Funny thing is sometimes we don't see our own style because we're too close to it. I remember bringing up the conversation about what makes their work uniquely theirs. And because I've shared my thoughts, they eventually shared their thoughts about my work. Some of them were about how my work has a bit of mystery and also feminine, and how the work can be very intuitive and floaty but still yet precise with the eyes. And that stuck with me because I never really thought of my art that way before. Sometimes you just need someone else to see it for you. In Germany, Ellie and I had a monthly painting gathering, and also Eileen would be able to join us here and there. And honestly, it wasn't just about painting, it was about showing up for each other. I already painted daily at that time, but those meetups challenged me in a different way. Talking and painting at the same time, have you done it? It's a whole other skill. But eventually I got really used to it. It made me think in a new way. Like it was almost like I was activating a different part of my brain. And that's something I've carried into my podcast. Although we don't paint together at the same time now because that would, I don't know, it might be a good idea to do it. But Ellie and I still have monthly art discussions on my podcast, even though we're in different countries now. I've also collaborated in different communities apart from having actual physical artist friends. Like I've participated in projects like Advent in a Bottle on Instagram and the alligator community on Patreon by Ali Kavanagh, where they had painting challenges. These group projects have shown me so many different ways artists approach their work. But at some point for me, it was too much information overload, so I had to step back from the Ali Kavanagh's Patreon community and find what actually worked for me. And I think those kind of adjustment is totally fine. We all have to experience what works for us, whether it be an actual physical friend or a community that you can join in online. Seeing my friends succeed, whether it's selling work, gaining newsletter subscribers, or getting into exhibitions, totally motivated me. When I moved to the US, I knew I wanted to push myself more because the language barrier wasn't holding me back anymore. I've applied to so many open calls. Seriously, and I even joined in the Studio 103 art walk. So I've exhibited for the first time in the US. Yesterday was the reception of this, and it was so fun. The whole block was just an art walk. This is in Seattle, but if you have time, every first Thursday of the month is an art walk. So yeah, I highly recommend you to check it out if you're in Washington. But anyhow, what artist friends did help with me was reminding me that my work is good enough. When you doubt yourself, having people who see your potential and tell you to keep going, I feel like that's the most invaluable thing. I've also feel like we push each other to step up our game where necessary, and we challenge each other like that. I can't pick one favorite memory because honestly, all of them were so much fun. But one that stands out is when Ellie and I spontaneously recorded our first podcast episode after a museum date. It was totally unplanned, and we ended up discovering a new artist together that we really enjoyed looking at his show, which was Orhan Pamuk. Orhan Pamuk is a Turkish novelist, screenwriter, and an artist, really, and we enjoyed looking at his work. That moment made me wish we had started doing this museum date earlier. With Eileen, one of my favorite times was our last sketching at the Pinakothek in Munich before I left Germany. Just sitting there sketching, talking about our art journeys, her first exhibition in the States where she sent her artwork. It was so lovely just catching up. And so fulfilling to see your artist friend step into a whole new world. Me and Eileen also went together to Kellogg's workshop. It just added to everything we had in common already. We understand each other, like we understand what motivates us, inspires us, is our drive, and we know what we bond over, and that makes a difference. If you're an artist struggling with self-doubt and feeling isolated, my biggest advice is to reach out. But this is the key. Find an artist whose work you genuinely love, because without that connection, it won't feel real. You can't be yourself. You can't be honest. And it doesn't always have to be another painter. I've done an interview of Anya Devine, who's the finalist in the Sky Portrait of the Year 2014. So I'll have that link to the interview down below. But she mentioned that her artist friend was a poet. The point is to find people who understand what it's like to live a creative life. But I would say though, if you're a painter, I do think having another painter as a friend makes a difference because they know, they understand, and if they're honest with your work, yet kind, like they know how to explain things so you don't get hurt, they'll help you see what you're capable of when you can't see it yourself. Artist friends, absolutely life-changing. So if you have artist friends, let me know. And if you don't, maybe this is your sign to start reaching out. Keep creating, keep being inspired, and I'll see you next time. Take care.